at my home, away from home today at the Four Seasons Los Angeles. I'm at a meeting and I stepped outside because I had an aha moment. The number one question I always get from you guys all the time is, how do you make rich friends? But more importantly, how do you retain rich friends? Rich people are very guarded, blah, 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 blah. Not true. I never really could find an answer for you guys, even though I'm able to be in that world and just retain those friendships. I couldn't put it into words until this moment. And I'm going to share how rich people vet friends, because they do a lot of vetting before they allow anyone into their circle, and how you could retain them. Let's do it. Hi, my name is Nike Nanaiki, and I teach you about financial literacy and how to be smart with your money. The number one thing they do while they're vetting a new friend to allow into their group, into their world, into their infrastructure is when you go out to dinner with them. I noticed that they always take a pause at the end of the dinner to see, when I first started hanging out with like people who are wealthier than me, to see if I will pick up the bill. And you just don't pick up the bill for one person, you pick it up for the whole entire group. So when I had poor friends, we'll go out to eat and everyone will like Venmo each other and split the bill. And there's almost like a trust system within the wealthy that if one person picks up the bill today, the next time someone else will pick it up. So yes, you do have to have a little bit of money already, or like charge your credit card. I don't know what you need to do, but every now and again pick up the tab for the whole group that you're with, because it shows that you're not just there to use them, and then you can hold your own. Number two, how private you are and how much you can keep it secret. And they're not going to admit this, but they tested me. Like when I first started hanging out with this girl, one of them told me a secret about the other that they've all already shared, I'm sure, within each other. And it was like a bad secret. And I guess they waited like a couple weeks for me to tell the other one, to see if I would tell, like, go like, oh my God, this person said this about you. And 2 weeks later, she was like, I told you something bad about, she mentioned the other friend, and you never went back and told her. Good job. And I was like, was that a test? She's like, maybe. I was like, I don't like to be tested because I would never do that to you guys, but I respect it. And honestly, since they did it to me, I've done it myself to a couple people in my life just to see what they will do, because privacy is paramount in the affluent world. Like, they respect frugality is freedom. Absolutely. Affluent people are the cheapest human being you will ever meet. They're always negotiating everything. They're always trying to get a bargain deal with everything. They are very frugal people. However, the key is to not talk about, like, if you're broke, just don't talk about that ever in your life. Like, or if you're dealing with something financially, like if you're financially struggling, if it's between dying and a wealthy person admitting that they're financially struggling, they will die. Okay, it's not a conversation that's ever allowed to have. Meaning, like, I know when I get around my like middle class friends or poor friends, even though everyone's struggling right now, the recession is terrible. Even for the wealthy, they can feel it themselves. But when I hang out with my wealthy friends, it's just like, well, it's hard. What can we do about it? We'll figure things out. When I get about my poor friends, all they do is just complain about it and how hard it is and how life sucks, And number 4, be reliable. So if you're at a meeting and you say, oh my God, I know this restaurant that's so cool, or I have this connect for you, a contact for you, follow up immediately once you get home, because yes, their friendships are very business-like. Again, networking is the key for how they got to the top, how they become successful. They're fearless networkers. So you have to be a fearless networker as well. If you have a value to add to their life and you mention it, make sure you follow through with that value. So if you have a connection or like a phone number they need or like an address they need, the moment you get home, you text it to them, you email it to them, and you say, okay, because they will do the same for you. Always follow through on any promise you make, because if you back out once, you make one mistake and you don't follow through, or you don't share contacts they ask of you, you'll be cut off immediately. Don't be afraid to brag. Don't be afraid to sell yourself. What I noticed, the difference between my wealthy friends and my poor middle class friends, is that they're so humble. Like, the poor people are so humble. Like, oh, you shouldn't talk about yourself so much. People who are wealthy, that's all they do is talk about themselves, what they're working on, the projects they're working on, the book they're writing, the investments they're making. And it's like, yeah, it's like a little bit of one-upping each other, but it's done in such a classy way that you're like, okay, well, if you're doing that, so can I. It's like almost like a good competition. So when you're in those spaces, don't be afraid to talk about what you're currently working on in almost a pompous way, you know, like, yeah, I'm killing it in this aspect of my life, because they will respect you more. You know, don't be pretentious. But if you are working on a project, talk about it with them. Like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I just bought a house, I just did this, I just did that. They love that because they want to see that you are one of them. You can match theirs. That's it. I hope that helps. If you want to be rich, you have to make rich friends. It's really very simple. That's it, you guys. I believe in you, and I hope you always believe in yourself. Stay fat.